Mike James. Friends, families, and colleagues gathered on Ikeja to celebrate the gracious conclusion of a rewarding career of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and Strategy, Olumide Sogunle, from the civil service and his 60th birthday. In his remarks, Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Motosho, congratulated Mr. Sogunle on a special day, describing him as open-minded and a man with good character, hardworking and dedicated. Omotosho also commended him for his exemplary leadership and a goal-getter who has contributed immensely to the growth of the Information Ministry and Lagos civil service at large.
The lesson of what we are doing today is what all of us should take home. And the lesson is that whatever you do in life, you should know that character matters. Today I have seen so many people, all our friends in the body of permanent secretaries.
Lagos State Head of Service Bode Aguru, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Public Service Office, Sukomi Oyigbola, described Sogunle as a diligent, dedicated, knowledgeable, and very competent officer who has greatly contributed to the development of the state.
I believe your mentees will continue to treasure the wells of knowledge you were able to share with them during your sojourn in the state public service. You have consistently demonstrated commendable leadership abilities, and your valuable contributions as member of the esteemed body of permanent secretaries have impacted policies of government positively.
Goodwill messages poured in to the celebrant by colleagues and friends who urged him to continue to keep true to himself as they wished him well in his future endeavor. While responding in an interview, the celebrant, Mr. Olumide Sogunle, expressed gratitude to God for his faithfulness and urged every civil servant to take charge of their roles in the service.
I feel good, I feel happy, I feel nice being celebrated. Work hard, stand out of the crowd, and the rewards will come.
Our reporter Mojid Ololade reports that the event was attended by top government functionaries, body of permanent secretaries, head of agencies, among others. Lagos State Government, through the Office of Education Quality Assurance, OEQA, has inaugurated a 17-member committee tasked with drafting and implementing a comprehensive policy for non-state schools in Lagos. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Abisola Dokumu Adigbite, noted that the initiative aligned with Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's vision of leaving no child behind by providing equitable, high-quality education to all children, regardless of school type. Dokumu Adigbite said the move aims to standardize the delivery of education in private and mission-owned institutions, which ensures alignment with both national benchmarks and Lagos State unique educational needs. She also described the inauguration as a landmark step in the government's broader mission to transform the education sector. Political leaders have been urged to document their experiences and achievements to serve as blueprints for future generations of leaders to navigate the challenges of governance, especially at the grassroots level. This call was made at the launch of a book on grassroots governance and autonomy by the Chief Whip of Surulere Local Government and Chairman of the Lagos State Chief Whip Forum, Eric Otinwa. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, who was represented by former Commissioner for Youth and Social Development in Lagos State, Agbola Dabiri, emphasized on the importance of history, saying history is paramount to every nation and all must always go back to history to guide the future.
History is paramount to every nation, and what Eric has made today, he has been part of the history of Surulere. A way generation to come will always go back to, because what happens today happened in the past and will always happen in the future. So we must learn from lesson and must learn to read.
In their remarks, Special Advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Housing, Barakat Odunuga Bakari, and Vice Chairman of Surulere Local Government, Muiz Dosumu, emphasized the need for documentation to preserve history, especially to enhance grassroots governance, noting that Otiwa has showcased what he has learned and researched in his service to his community and left a legacy for the upcoming generation.
I've gone through the book and I'm quite impressed with what the content of the book is. And as Kofi Annan said, he said that education is liberation, and it's a form of education to the generations that are coming behind us.
From all indication, is a man who asks questions, who want to know, and the little he knows, he want to showcase to people that, yes, I know this and I want to impact this on the people.
On his part, the Chief Whip of Surulere local government, Eric Otinwa, explained that the clamor for grassroots autonomy inspired him to write a detailed memoir, not just for federal politicians, scholars, and students.
He talks about the shortfall in finances, in government. He talks about autonomy itself, comparing it to that of South Africa, Ghana, UK. He talks about Surulere local government. He talks about Surulere itself. He talks about the local governments, then he talks about the CDAs. He talks about a whole lot of things. So a whole lot of things that people would learn about. He talks about the councillor, the role of the councillor. He talks about the role of the council, the local governments, and what is expected of them. You know, some people don't even know what the local government is for. They don't even know their rights to it. They don't even know what the councillor is for, how well it's meant to represent them, what is meant to represent them for, and what is not meant to represent them. So it speaks volume, a whole lot of things.
Otinwa added that with proper representation, grassroots development will thrive not just in Lagos, but across Nigeria for the benefit of all. As the world marked the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, the national chairman of the Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, ACPN, Eze Igwekama, called for urgent and coordinated efforts to combat the growing threat of drug abuse in Nigeria. In his address to the public and members of the press, Igwekama emphasized that the annual observance set aside by the United Nations is a time to reflect on the devastating impact of drug abuse and illicit trafficking on individuals, communities, and the nation. He said he joins millions globally firm and to the fight against substance abuse, noting that the 2025 theme, "The Evidence is Clear, Invest in Prevention," aligns directly with the vision of the ACPN. Igwekama warned that every tablet sold without a prescription, every diverted bottle of codeine cough syrup, and every hard drug traded illegally is not just a crime, but a threat to Nigeria's future. He said drug abuse fuels mental health issues, crime, school dropout, family breakdown, and untimely death, urging government institutions, civil society, security agencies, religious and traditional leaders, parents, and educators to intensify their efforts in prevention, education, early intervention, and rehabilitation. And in some foreign news, a state funeral is underway in Iran for nearly 60 people, including senior military commanders and nuclear scientists who were killed during the recent 12-day conflict with Israel. Large crowds gathered near Englehab Square in central Tehran, where coffins draped in Iranian flags and portraits of the deceased were displayed. The mourners, many dressed in black, chanted slogans, waved flags, and paid tribute to those they called martyrs. Among those being buried is Iran's highest-ranking military officer and Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, General Muhammad Bagheri, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Hossein Salami, and several prominent nuclear scientists. And in sports news, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has honored former Super Falcons captain Onome Ebi for her remarkable legacy in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Ebi, a commanding central defender, made history by featuring in 7 editions of the prestigious tournament, more than any other player in its history. CAF, in a tribute posted on its official website, praised Ebi's longevity and impact, calling her an emblematic figure of Nigerian football and a model of consistency. Her career, spanning nearly 2 decades, has inspired a new wave of African female footballers and earned her a place among the legends of the game. And that was our news at 1. Just before we go, Ensure the registration mark on your vehicle is clear and visible at all times. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs on YouTube, Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website, www.trafficradio961.ng. Listen to Lagos Traffic Radio on my Lagos app for timely updates. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration supported 152 businesses and persons in the tech ecosystem under the Lagos Innovate program? Well, you can get more details on the Legacy Government website, and for contacts with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Zainab Adebeshi. Good afternoon, and thank you for listening.